Hello, everybody. Welcome to the IRI AT Training Center. Today, we've got some exciting stuff to show you. The new CloverBook Pro from SiteCare. It's distributed in the US by IRI AT and through many of our resellers throughout the United States. So again, this is the CloverBook Pro. Let me get into kind of the features of it. Well, actually, before we do that, we should go over the learning objectives today. We're going to see a new portable video magnifier for low vision students and professionals. It's something very powerful, very affordable. You're also going to see some unique features that we have on the CloverBook Pro, like the split screen mode. It has an additional screen, has all kinds of ways to allow us to have a dual view at the same time and really take full advantage of that and not be switching between things all of the time. And in general, this is a device that is so portable, it can replace a lot of portable devices, and with the 12.5-inch screen and full page OCR and all the features that it has with the additional screen, really can replace quite a few other devices along the way. So let's take a quick overview of what the CloverBook Pro has to offer. I should mention first that we'll be releasing soon two other models of the CloverBook Lite and the CloverBook Plus. And the only differences on those will be that the CloverBook Lite will have no OCR and no distance camera. The CloverBook Plus will have a distance camera but no OCR. And then the one we're dealing with today is the top of the line, the CloverBook Pro, which has full page OCR and a distance camera. And then all the other features will be common pretty much. Things like split screen won't work on the Lite and the Plus. But in general, those are the main differences. And we expect to release those in just a few weeks. And we'll give an updated webinar on that and kind of go over the comparison of those. So, we've got a 12.5-inch full HD matte screen. It is a matte screen, so it's not reflective. You're going to get a much better view with a full HD, and I'll show you how nice that looks with the 4K camera. Gives you a reading resolution from 1x all the way up to 60x. And I like that it actually goes all the way down to 1x because a lot of them don't do that. You got scan and read in a couple of different ways. Just kind of scan where you are, or you can go into the scanning mode and do full page. One really cool thing about it that you don't see really on any other similar device is that it has traditional controls. It has wheels for the contrast and the magnification like you'd expect on a full desktop CCTV. Also has a touchscreen. So really, however you're comfortable using it, there's a way to do it, or maybe I kind of use it in a combination depending on what I think's easier or what's not. It's also neat, I'll show you in the settings, there's the ability to have speech on it all the time, which if you're not depending on your vision, a lot of people usually have those off. But we also know a number of assessors who are totally blind and trying to assess people on this. So it's really convenient that everything talks, or at least everything can talk and beep, and everything can be turned off if that annoys you. You've got live panning. There's a joystick on it. I'll show you where you can just zoom around. Anything the camera can see is, no matter how far you're zoomed in, it can explore that either by touching the touchscreen or using the joystick that's on there. That's not just with frozen images, but even with live images. The photo mode, of course, and we have a bunch of contrast modes, which I'll show you how to turn on and off as we get through this. Continuing on with the overview, one of the neat features about this is the fold-out distance camera. This isn't something that you have to plug in separately, you have to charge separately, you have to connect through Wi-Fi or anything like that. You just pop it out. And if you can see the lower left picture, you'll notice a little antenna-looking thing that's popping out of it. And that's the distance camera. It will bend and twist and go in all sorts of directions. I'll show you how that works. You spin it around, automatically goes into mirror mode, so you can use it for self view. Spin it around away from you, it automatically goes into distance view and gets rid of the mirror mode. Very cool, really handy distance camera that's on there. And then of course it comes with a fold out design, folds down and fits in that carrying case. If you can see that, the bottom right image is the nice hard carrying case that it comes with. It just folds right down and goes into that. Weighs about a little over 5 pounds. So we have some really unique features on this baby. The photo on the left, you may notice, if you can see that well, there's a white dot, sort of oval in the middle, not quite the middle of the device. And I'll show you later how that works. You press that, it unlocks the battery, you pop it out, you put another one in. So a user replaceable battery, I think very important. I can't tell you how many times I've had an iPad or iPhone or any number of devices that I have to throw the thing away because the battery's done. Well, this one, you just get a new one. So split screen viewing, I don't think I've seen this on much of anything. Very, very cool. I'll show you how that works. It allows you to see at a distance as well as see your close cam at the same time, split horizontally or split vertically. You can then connect into a larger screen and split between those. It even has this 12.5-inch full HD CloverView extra monitor. If you look over at if you can see the bottom right image, it'll show there's a small HDMI cord that comes with the screen, just plugs into the device and then into the screen. And then suddenly you have a whole nother, like double the screen space, and really takes advantage of that split screen feature to jump between things. And we'll go through that a bit later. So some cool, unique features. I've got some resources for you to look up where the things are, and we'll get back to that in just a minute. But now, apologize in advance for probably clumsiness. I'm going to have to jump over to the other screen. No, hey, you can actually see me, I think, now. Hello. And hey, Kay, you want to come in here and say hi? I'll get down. This is my wife, Kayleen, my helper, or I'm her helper, I guess, if people understand the relationship, how it really works. Okay. So I need to get my participant view, and I'm going to try to get over to the other camera. And that's, of course, something that I'm going to have to allow panelists to start video, all this stuff I tried to do in advance, but you know how that goes. Okay. Okay, so we should be over in the CloverBook now. All right, are we over in the CloverBook now? Okay, all right. Again, I apologize about the clumsiness. It's a little difficult when we can't have anybody near each other. But we're doing our best. So everybody should be seeing now an image here, a video. We've got two cases here in front of you. This is the extra screen, the CloverView screen. I'll put that aside. Well, actually, let me show you. I'm going to get to this later, but it's very neat that on the CloverBook case right here, there's a little flap right in front. So if I have the extra screen, I can just slip it in there, and then I can take this whole thing around with me. Like, what, 6, 7 pounds, not heavy at all. Very cool. I'll put that aside for now because I'll be highlighting that later. We'll just get into the device itself. So first of all, it comes in this nice hard case. Zipper will open this up. Are we out of focus? A little bit. How did that happen? Of course, we only tested all these things 300 times, so when we're actually doing it, nothing's going to work. Let's see if I can get a little more light on it. I think will help.
You're good now.
Okay. So just opens up, and it's real handy. There's a little block in the back, so you always know how to put it in. You can kind of put it in by feel. There's a handle right in front, so it just pops right out. When you want to put it in, you can just shove it in. This piece in the back is easy to figure out where to put it, drop it in, and you're on your way. So I'll put the case aside for now and just show the device. To show that case is pretty cool. Guy. Okay, so before I open it up, let me show you a couple of the features. I mentioned the user replaceable battery. This is this oval right here. I'm going to have to open up to get to it. I'll open that up. And if you ever want to replace that, you can easily do that. You just press that button. It's hard to do it while I'm holding it in the air here. Press the button, pop it out. Got my battery. You can even get an extra one. And off we go. So I kind of did this backwards, but I wanted to show you that battery. So on the back you have the replaceable battery, your camera, your lighting, which these are controllable independently, and then you have the carry handle. If you want to open it up, and you notice there's some speakers in here as well, or you may notice, I'm just grabbing this handle, I'm holding the tray, and I'll lift up, and it's open. Then I can just adjust to my preferred viewing angle, and however I want to go, I'm good. So let me grab the charger quickly. One of the things I like about this, I turn it to the side, you should be able to see there's a white power button, slightly tactile, so you can feel where that is on the, what is the left arm if you're facing yourself. And if you feel up on that, you'll feel an indentation right under the power button. Real convenient when you have a plug that is a circular plug, so there's no way to turn it the wrong way or do anything else. Just plugs right in there, charges up. It takes about 5 hours to charge, gives you 3 to 5 hours of use or continuous use. Unplug it and off you go. So I like this. We have a lot of ones that have USB micros and the people push them in and break the ports. This one's not going to do that. So again, opening and closing is very easy. If you want to use the distance camera, just flip that up, and that does all kinds of things. It turns around. If I turn it toward me, I have self view, automatically turns into mirror mode. If I turn it away from me, it turns into distance view. Then I can also adjust it at different angles, turn it up and down, all around, so you can literally like look at the ceiling if you want to. Very handy little camera, and an amazing image that you get out of this. I thought it was kind of a joke, honestly, when I first saw it, but it is really cool. So it's just kind of a general look at the physical features of the device, and I'll go through the buttons and those things, but I want to point out the location of a few other things on here. On the rear, you have a place on the stand. It goes between the kind of the middle between the two arms that are legs that stand up. And it's got a channel in it. And this is where I'm going to put the extra screen when I use it later. So pay attention to this now, because this has a little slot in it. All I have to do is slot that thing in there and it's going to go. Obviously on this side we have the distance camera. Sorry about that. Around here, besides the power and the power input, we have our we have an HDMI, USB. We have the USB as a service port. But for your use, you're going to use the HDMI port to plug into a larger screen or the extra screen, or the SD card. You can import images and PDF documents and things using that. And then I won't go through all these buttons quite yet until I use it. Flip around on the opposite side and you have a headphone port. So just kind of a basic overview of the physical features. Why don't we get into playing with this guy a little bit. I'm going to turn it on, pressing that power button on the left, top of the left arm. You'll hold it for a couple, 3 seconds, and you'll see the logo come up and the lights come on. I just put stuff underneath it and start viewing. Now, these things don't always come through as well in video, but this is a nice matte screen, full HD, very clear image that I have in front of me. So let's go through the different features that we have to use with magnification. I'm going to start on the far left side, and we have a switch screen button. And I'm actually not going to start. I'm going to start by telling you about that, but I'm going to get back to that. And we'll start with the next button. There's a blue button on the front, just to the left of the front panel underneath the screen. And that is, and again, all the buttons are tactile in some way, and the thing speaks. So again, I really like that it can be used in assessments by people, whether they have sight or not. So blue button, left front panel, or left of the front panel. Turn it around so you can see what I'm doing, but I wanted to point out the button I'm going to use. This is my lines and blinds. I've got vertical, horizontal. I've got my blinds, vertical and horizontal. And then kind of neat feature, if I hold this down, then I can use the joystick, panning joystick. If I want to make it thicker or thinner, if I want to move it, I
can use that to do it. I just hold down that button. And then if I wanted to do a different one, I wanted to do my vertical, I could do the same thing again, hold it down, thick or thin it, move it around, and do the same thing in the blinds, move those around, make those bigger or smaller. Real handy way to control everything. So you have lines and blinds. Next button over has a picture of a house on it. It's slightly recessed gray button. And you just press that guy and it gets you into your home systems and other things like that. It's also kind of a back button that we use a number of times when we're showing things going like in and out of menus and things. This would be the return or go up a menu button in those cases. So if I just press it once in mag mode, it gives me the option to turn on and off the lights. And I apologize for those of you who are going to be annoyed by the speech, but I turned the speech on, which is not a default. I imagine any distributor that we work with would be happy to turn that on for anybody who needed it in advance, but it's not on by default. So if you're one of these people who is annoyed by voices, don't worry, it won't be on. You have to actually turn it on. But I wanted it on for the purpose of the presentation. So I'm gonna press that and it'll tell me when I turn the lights on and off. I can also turn the lights off.
All lights off.
Independently.
Left light on. All lights off. All lights on.
And then I also have a brightness control, depending on the brightness that I want. So a real easy way to control that. Now, if I long press this button, this being the home button on the left front panel, left of the front panel, this gives me kind of the main menu. And I'm not sure how well all these things are showing up. I wanted the whole device to be visible, but also, so I'm going to kind of move it forward when we're looking at the screen. So I have 4 different options on this screen. And again, this is an accessible device. So I can use a touchscreen if I want to. I just tap and it opens. But I can also navigate this with the pen.
Open.
And it tells me what's happening.
Open. Text to speech. Magnifier.
So we'll go through some of those things in just a moment. But I wanted to stick with the magnifier at this point and get through the rest of the buttons. Then we'll get back to the menu.
Magnifier.
So I notice I just tapped the home button again and it brought me back out of that menu. That's always going to be your way. If you're in something you want to get out, hit the home button and bring it back, or long press the home button will kind of reset things way back. So now we're just back in regular reading mode. Now this is one of the wheels I talked about. Very cool. You have a contrast wheel. And so you want it this way, you want it that way, whichever way. You don't have to cycle through all the colors. You can just get right to the one that you want. You can do it fast because you can turn it. It's like traditional kind of controls. Now you can do all that stuff touchscreen too, but I like that you have wheels for such things. And now let's say I'm looking at a photograph. I just have to tap this button and it moves me to my natural color. I tap it back and I'm back to reading. So real easy to switch once you find your contrast mode to do that. And now if you're annoyed by the amount of contrast modes that are on there, as often is the case, you can get into the menu and change it, but it's also real convenient. If you hold this button down for 5 seconds, what it'll do is
color combination.
It'll kick straight into the custom colors. So you may notice on the screen I have slashes over a number of them. Those are ones I've already canceled out. So let's get rid of some greens. I don't like those too much. Whatever, just for a point, that's how you can get rid of colors and just kind of jump straight to it versus go through the menu. Now you have a back option icon on the touchscreen. You can also hit the home button and go back, and that'll just bring you back to your live mag. So real convenient way to change colors, move around to different colors. So let's zoom back out and get a column in here. Let's figure out. All right. So I'm going to show you the panning feature next. This is really cool. So I'm zoomed in, and well, maybe that's a little much, but I've got a panning feature to move around so that I don't have to move the device. I can just move this where I want to go. And one of the things they added to this, because the SiteCare has had a couple models that have done this in the past, but this one has some really cool features. Now, if I hit this joystick twice, I don't know if you can see, there's a square that comes up on the screen with a red side that appears on the side you get to. But it allows you to jump back and forth. So I want to get to the left side, I did that. I want to get to the top. Maybe it just does it to the sides now that I say that. But yeah, see, now I can jump to the right side. I can jump to the left side either by touching the screen or using this joystick to do it. So now you're reading through a line, you get to the end, you want to go back, just you're back. And then you can just go down a line, get to the next one, and it makes it so much easier to not lose your place. You really can take advantage of that panning feature. And now I did that only with the joystick, but you can do that with the touchscreen too. You do have a touchscreen on here, so you can pan around, you can see everything you want to see. And okay, that's about where I want to start. Zoom in, go through, and you can still use those other features that are on here. So okay, I'm at the end of the line, double tap, and I know I can just go down a line and keep reading. So it's just so many ways to use this thing, so many cool features. And I mean, some people don't want to use a touchscreen, and they don't have to. And some people like to use a combination, and this one just gives you so many cool options that way. So, okay, let's keep on going. The next one is our zoom control. Now again, we've got a, I should mention too that I've got this screen in different ways. It has a tilt control. So the camera's on the front of it pointing down, but it's still going to be straight if I've got that tilt control on. So you can have a comfortable reading angle. So now I zoom out. Well, hey, let's zoom in. So if I press this, now again, I can pinch and zoom on the screen to zoom, or I can use this wheel. Now if I want to find, I can tap that, and it gives me a target that I can move with the joystick to where I want to go, or I can just move it with the touchscreen, figure out exactly where I want to be, and I tap the zoom again, boom, and I'm there. So really a lot of cool ways to navigate on this device, pinch and zoom, or use the wheel, and you have the find feature, which makes it just so convenient to, oh, let's look at that photograph, boom, color, boom. So pretty cool. And again, those beeps, well, those are going to indicate, I don't know if people noticed when I got to the top or the side, see there's a red line that comes on there. That indicates I've gone too far to the side. If you don't want the beep to happen, you can do that. But I've got all the sounds on for accessibility. Okay. So next one up is the OCR button. And we're going to save that one for just a moment too and skip past it. I can spend real time on OCR. And look on the side of the device on the right side. There's I should describe the buttons I was going through from home to the text-to-speech button, including the contrast, panning, and zoom button. Those are all on a front panel right underneath and in front of the screen. Then there's an orange button just to the right of that panel, just on the right side of the device. And you press that, and that's going to be your freeze, your image freeze. Now, if I want to save the image, or if I want to get out of the image, I tap it again. If I want to save it, I can just hold this down. Storage. And it gives me some cool options here. You know, again, in the interest of accessibility, I don't know whether I'm going to read the title, what I want for a title of this photo later. I took too long. Let me do that again.
Live image. Image storage.
Back in here. I can tap this and record something. And the mic's right here, so sorry, my face is going to go in front. This is my image. Isn't it neat? Cool. Okay, did it actually record it? Did you record me? Oh, sorry, I have to hold it down, dummy. I'm trying to record something, but apparently I'm not smart enough. Okay. I'm trying to record something, but apparently I'm not smart enough. Anyway, I think that's really cool. I'll go in and I'll show you the images and how we retrieve them later, but I really like that you can just say, okay, these are my science notes. There's the picture of the board and the whiteboard or whatever. You can just label them with your voice. Very, very cool. So freeze, unfreeze, and save images with this orange button on the side. Now going up further, we have an autofocus button. This is going to turn on and off the autofocus. So if you're writing underneath it, it will continue to focus on the deck itself instead of on your hand. And it has, you put that on, has orange indicators on the screen, and if you have the voice on, will indicate that verbally.
Autofocus unlocked.
I'll turn that off. The last thing we have are volume buttons, and there's an icon. Whoops.
Live image.
There's an icon on there that looks like a speaker when you are in button and readback mode. And then there's also it's the sounds and the menu sounds. And then there's a separate volume control when you're in the OCR. You can adjust that when it's speaking back to you if you wanted those things. Say you want the buttons to be there but be quiet, but you want to be able to hear the OCR. And if there's any privacy concerns, you do have a headphone jack. So let's see. Okay, I promised I would come back to this button. We have on the left side of the device, just above the blue button that we use for lines and blinds, there is a small tactile gray button with a little circle on it, and this will change my screen and give me split screen. So let me show you how that works. So I'm in class. And I apologize again with the space available to me to do all this. I don't really have a very good distance view going on. I just had to kind of throw up a banner in front of me. But I think it'll still show you how this works. So I'm going to press this button on the left side.
Distance view.
And this is going to give me the distance view. And I don't really want to see the light switch. Let's see back a little bit. So I have a banner up there, a Rehan banner. I've got our web address there, and I can angle this. I can do all kinds of different things to see different parts of the banner or whatever I'm trying to view. And then I can also use my panning in this and look at different things. It allows me to look out at a distance. So now if I tap this again,
horizontal split screen,
I'm going to get a split screen. So now I'm able to view the front of the class, and I'm able to read my notes at the same time. Now, I can also control these separately. If you can see this, there's a red rectangle that's going around the distance view right now. If I tap on this screen, then now I can control my notes. I can change the magnification. I can change the contrast. Whatever I want to do, I want to change this one. Same thing. I just have to tap on it. And then I believe it's also, no, yeah, so you can also change the view. So if you just wanted a little bit of one and a lot of the other, you just hold down that button and move the joystick, and it does that all for you. So I'll give myself a little bit more space for notes. Now, if I tap the switch screen button again, this is going to give me a vertical split screen. And again, I can adjust the size of that how I want to, but looking at two different things at the same time.
Near view.
Hit it again, and I'm back to my near view. So I'll show you more about how that works once we have the external screen on there, because then there's all kinds of additional things we can do, and obviously a lot more space to do it with. So, okay. So next up, I wanted to go into the menu a little bit and show you how that works, and then I'll get into OCR and some of the fancier features. Get that up. Okay, all right, so I'm going to push this up again. Hopefully this is going to give people a view that is useful. So again, in the menu, I can use the panning button to go through, or I can just tap things. So I'm going to go first to, I'm going to get to text to speech in just a moment, but to open up the a document or something, I can touch there, or I can press the text button, and it enters me into things. So I can choose different pictures that I want to get. I can get PDFs. I don't actually have a PDF I don't have an SD card in there. So it has, I think, 2 gigs of memory that it will take care of itself. And then if you want more photos and documents and things beyond that, you need to put them in yourself. But you can then tap on that or press the T button.
I'm trying to record something, but apparently I'm not smart enough.
And it brings you into it. And I don't know if you could hear that, but it just announced the image I just saved. And then I have one where I waited too long and I didn't get a voice announcement. And if you can see, there's an audible looking icon that's on there when you have a voice label.
This is the Ivory logo.
So these are 2 I did earlier.
This is a picture from our catalog.
So anyway, a real convenient way to retrieve images. Like, hey, what is this? Well, I'm going to tell you what it is with my own words and figure that out. You want to erase something, boom, it's gone. You want to go back, you've got your home button or your back button on screen. And then you want to go back up a menu, again, the back or the home button will bring you back. So that way I can get in, I can open that document I made earlier or that picture I made earlier, save things in class and know what they are, what I saved. So let's look over at settings. Again, we'll get back to text to speech, and I'm going to get in there by selecting with the T button or by tapping on it. Now I have a whole bunch of options in here. I can get to the color mode.
Color combination.
This is where I was earlier. If I jump to it by holding the contrast button for 5 seconds,
Finish.
or I can go into the menu and change those things. I mentioned there was a tilt control. You don't want that to work. It'll just show directly what the camera sees from the exact angle. Or in this case, I have it on so that I can read at a more comfortable angle and not have to read standing up or something. You can have voice labels on for your images like I have. If you're running out of space, storage space, you probably want to turn that off. Yeah, power saving and vibration options. And then I turned on the speech guide, which is not by default on, but I think very helpful, especially in a situation like this and most assessments. It's going to be helpful for everybody to understand what's going on. It's also a cooling fan. I can tap on the next setting group, or I can use the contrast wheel to move through if I want a more accessible way to do it. And in here, I can change the voice gender. I just select that.
Male voice selected.
Female voice selected.
And I have
language setting.
A number of different languages that I can choose from. I really only speak, well, I could maybe do it in German, but it would be messy. Okay. And yeah, to go back, I'm just going to hit the home button. And then I have one final option to return to factory settings, and it just tells you some info in there if you upgraded or something and you want to know whether it worked or not. So pretty simple settings, pretty easy to get to, accessible ways to get to them. And then you want to go back to Live Mag, just hit that, and you're back in your magnifier. But in this case, I wanted to get to the text to speech. So I'm going to select that option, and that gives me a full page text to speech. But before I do that, I'm going to go back to the mag view and show you another way. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I can figure out, okay, so I want to read that. I don't know. Just find a section that's interesting. All right. So if I just want to read what's on the screen, I've got some garbage off to the side. Maybe I can cover that so it doesn't go in too, but here we go. Just want to read that. So I press the T button, the far right side of the front control panel, and then whatever's on the screen, it's going to OCR and read back to me.
Participants will gain a new perspective of sight loss. They will no longer regard.
Okay, and I'll get through the controls in just a moment, but I wanted to show you the 2 different ways to do that. Now, if I want to get out of this, I'm going to long press on the home button, and now I'm back to Live Mag. So anytime you want to just read something quickly, you can just do that and then get back to Live Mag and go on your way. But let's say I want this entire 8.5 by 11 page to be read. That's when I go and I long press on the home button and choose the text to speech option. Gives me an orange window and gives me the ability to scan an entire page. So I've got that under there, and I can press, there's a T icon on the screen, or I can
Full
just
page
press
text to
the
speech.
text-to-speech button there. And it will read it back to me. Now there's a few different options that you have in here. You can read kind of by sections and have it read only that section, or you can have it include it all and just read it all. So let me get that.
Segmentation enabled.
So segmentation enabled or disabled is what they call it. So let me start that.
2019 seminar topics. Seminar topics may include introduction to vision loss, travel and transportation.
So it'll follow on the image view itself where you're going and read that back to you. You also can, either using this little guy here, you type the home button,
Text
you
mode.
can switch to a computer text mode, or you can also
Picture
just
mode.
tap the switch screen button and it moves it back and forth. And I found myself more and more just using the buttons for this stuff, because when I hit the home button, I get this stuff up on the screen that eventually goes away, and I really like it not being there. So I'm using the text button
2019 seminar topics.
to start and stop. I'm using
Text
the
mode.
other button, the switch screen button, to switch to what I want, and I can magnify on either screen,
Picture mode.
or change contrast, or whatever I want to do.
Text mode.
But it allows me to get through all this
2019
stuff
seminar topics.
and
Seminar
not
topics
have
may include introduction.
not have to even touch the screen if you need it to be more accessible, and you get more of the screen if you don't have that thing up there. So let's say I want to read a certain thing. I don't want to read the whole thing. I want to start reading a daily living aids. So I can tap that. It'll highlight the word.
Daily living skills.
And
Cooking
it
and
starts
kitchen
reading.
organization.
And I believe if I hold it for a few seconds,
Organization braille basics for the home and so much.
yeah, so you just hold it for a few seconds and it starts reading wherever you want it to read. So kind of a couple handy ways to do OCR, and then you can save your documents, of course. Let me see if I left anything out. Bring that up. Okay, so just a review. So if I want to switch
Picture mode.
between
Segmentation.
the segmentation
disabled.
where I'm just reading a section, there's an
Segmentation
icon on the screen that comes up for that. And then I can also switch either pressing the on-screen P button
Text
and
mode.
T button
Picture mode.
to get to the different views, or I can press
Text
the
mode.
switch
Picture
screen
mode.
button.
Text mode.
All right, so now to get out of this, I'm gonna long press the home button. I'm back to that, where I'm back to my orange where I can scan things area. Or if I want to go back to Live Mag, or sorry, I guess just back up to the menu, I get that. If I hold this down at any point,
Magnifier.
I should get back to my magnifier. Or I can just touch what's on the screen there. So I need to find the extra screen. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to scoot Mr. CloverBook Pro back just a bit. And are we getting any questions or anything, Kayleen?
Cody's taking care of them.
Cody's taking care of them? Okay, nothing I need to address? Okay, so let me show actually what I'm doing, since I'm supposed to be doing that. So we have another case, a nice case, kind of like the Clover 10 and Clover 7 cases. And pop that out and you have the CloverView screen, hooray! And this is another full HD screen. It has a plastic piece that will hinge out from the back of it. Maybe getting too close to the screen here. And when I want to use this guy, just turn my CloverBook around. It has some handy rubber wheels on it. I'm like trying to slide it on the table and it does not want to slide. So I actually like that quite a bit. So I'm going to turn this a little bit further. Just above the sight care on this bar on the back of the device, there's a slot. So I can just put it right in that slot. Fits in, no problem. I've got my external screen. Now, if I want it to work, I have to actually plug it in, but it's pretty cool. There's no separate power control or anything. I'm just plugging in a small HDMI cord that comes with the screen. Now I'll plug it into the device, and I plug it into
External
the screen.
screen connected.
And it even tells me external screen connected. How neato is that? So now okay, this isn't particularly useful to have the same thing viewed twice. I'm looking right now at the close view on both screens. But let's see what happens when I touch the switch screen button. This is again the one on the left side, just above the blue button.
Distance view.
I'm gonna go to distance view. Still neato, I have two views again, but I'm gonna hit it one more
Split
time.
screen.
And I'll explain to you why there are those views in just a minute and show you kind of some really cool stuff you can do with the two screens when you are viewing the same thing with it. But in this case, I want to view the lecture. This is the chalkboard, imagine it is. And I'll just put it on that. It's pretty. And then I've got my notes down here. So if you can see, there is a red rectangle around the edge of the screen. So I know that I'm controlling this screen. So when I change the contrast, it will impact the native device screen. But maybe I want to zoom in on that one. So I'm going to hold down this switch button and I'm going to hit the joystick up. And I don't know if you can see that, but now there's a red screen around this one. So now I can zoom in and out on the touch screen, or sorry, on the distance screen, and not impact this one. I'm still reading my notes as I want to read, but then I can zoom and move around and enjoy this, change contrast on that screen. I want to switch back, again, hold that button, push down the joystick. Now I've got a red square on this one or a rectangle on this one, and I can manipulate that. So same thing, you can also, if you want to, hey, well, I want my reading here and I want my professor here. That's the same deal. You've just got it set on separate screens. If you want to control them, again, press the button, hit the joystick in the direction of the screen that you want, and then you can control that one.
Near view.
All right. So now I was saying earlier, like, why do you have why do you have two screens? And it shows the same thing. There's actually quite a useful thing that you can do with this. If I tap the home button, something comes up here with a T and a magnifying glass. And I can also, let's see, I think I hold the zoom button for 3 seconds and I'll get the same thing I would have got with that one. Okay, so what I've got now is I've got an orange rectangle on my screen, which I can move around with my joystick, or I can move around with my finger on the touchscreen. And this allows me to have an overview. So let's say this is like a map or something here, and I want to know where everything is in perspective, but I also want to be able to zoom in so I can actually read it. It'd be really handy actually if I had this for the map tool on my phone that I can never read. So now I can zoom in as much as I want, whatever. You know, I've even kind of been reading things with it. It's like, oh, I'm looking up on this screen, but I've got perspective with my finger where I am. Okay, well, actually, let me change. I'm going to read. I want the screen up there to be a different contrast. Oh, I can't do that in this. Well, anyway, I would first change this to a contrast that I could actually see it in. But it's really cool to be able to just read along, kind of see where you are on the page down below, but then really be able to actually see it above, again, with the joystick or with my finger. But with my finger in particular, it's just really like, oh, I want to read right there where my finger is, which is so natural. So really cool feature there. So when I'm all done, pretty easy to deal with. I'm going to hold the power button down. I can retract the distance, easily pop the extra screen out, put that in the case and put it away. Reading materials aside, pop it in the case. And actually, I'll just do the whole thing because it really, I mean, what is this whole process? 30 seconds maybe to take down the entire thing, put it away, and take it with you. There we go, done. I'm gonna switch back to the other camera if I can. That's gonna be interesting possibly. Okay, I'm still on that camera.
No, you're good.
Huh?
You're good.
Am I on me now?
Yep.
All right, that is a good thing in the world. Okay, I have no idea. Okay. All right. So I wanted to make sure we had a chance for questions, and I'm going to go back to my presentation resources so we can take a look at that. So you can see the web address. I apologize, I forgot to put up the URL for the video for this webinar. We will have a location for that. It'll be on YouTube, and it'll be available on our website and other places, and even in the webinar section. So it should be pretty easy to find. In fact, this web address that I have at the top, the CloverBook Pro info, that's going to have the video probably linked to that page. So anyway, hopefully shouldn't be
Hey, Jeff.
hard to find those things.
Can you hear me, Jeff?
Okay. So I wanted to bring your attention to, I'm going to go back and make sure we got questions covered and all that stuff, but we have some upcoming webinars. August 6th, I guess that's Thursday next week. We're going to go over the Supernova Connect and Learn package. It's a Windows tablet package that does magnification and kind of the all-in-one classroom setup when you're on a budget. The August 11th webinar will go over another new and low vision product, the new Dolphin Guide Connect, which is a simplified software for magnification and speech. Makes it just easier to use your computer while also making it accessible. September 10th, we're going to do some new reading machines. We'll go over a few new ones that are on the market, and I think 3 of them will do that day. And then September 24th, we're going to do a deep dive into the Supernova software and really look at the advanced features and some of those things on there. So we will see if there are questions and such. I don't really see anything. Cody's got it going on. All right. Well, I guess that'll do it then. Well, I want to thank you all for joining us today. We do have some contact information on the screen. I want you to feel free to contact us at sales@irie.com. It's sales, S-A-L-E-S, at irie, I-R-I-E, -at.com. And we will answer your questions as fast as we can. Oh, yeah, I should probably mention price. Thank you for that, Aileen. Yeah, the price of the CloverBook Pro will be $25.95. So if you are familiar with other things out in the market, you will recognize that that is $400 or so less, actually $500 less than really the main competing product out there. And I think quite a bit more powerful and easier to use at the same time. I believe that the extra screen, we're still working on pricing for that, but that should be about $250, potentially $300, but I'm trying to keep it down to more like $250 to add that additional screen. Yeah, and I will mention again that we will have the CloverBook Lite, which will do everything that I showed today except for the extra screen, the distance view, and the OCR. And well, basically it's a magnifier. And then we'll have the CloverBook Plus, which will be, will also not have the split screen or the extra screen in OCR, but will have a distance camera. And then the CloverBook Pro is the one we showed today. And I don't yet have all the pricing for the Plus, and I don't know if I did figure them out at one point. So I know we have them, but I wasn't prepared with those. I'll have those definitely in the webinar when we show those, but I believe the CloverBook Lite will be under $2,000. So should be, you know, with all the features, you know, all the different models, I think will be very competitive in price. And we've been using the one that we have, actually the one that I use for this demonstration has been in demonstration since January, back in this world where we could actually go out in public and see people. Got to go to a number of exhibitions, and I even bricked it once by doing crazy stuff to it, and it still keeps fighting. So I'm really impressed, actually. You know, we've worked with this company for a number of years, and haven't had really big issues with repairs or anything like that. And this seems like it's another one of those units that's really going to perform well. Oh, we got a warranty question. Yeah, we will have a minimum of a 1-year parts and labor warranty on it. We're still, again, working out some of the details, but we'll have at least a 1-year parts and labor warranty on this guy. And we don't have to worry much about the battery because the battery comes off. We can replace it. Yay! Oh, that's going to make our life a lot easier. So, yeah, again, reach out to us if you need some more information. This is, questions keep coming up, and I keep trying to end this. This is made by a company called SiteCare. They manufacture in Shenzhen. And IRI AT is the exclusive importer. So all of the stock will come from the US. Everything comes in here. We inspect it and make sure everything is fine and dandy. The repair center is right here in Oregon. And probably we'll have remote repair centers with other distributors as we normally do. So in a sense, it'll be like a US product because it will be held here, supported here, people that are invested in the product here. So really impressed with the CloverBook Pro. I'm happy to have shown it to you today. Reach out to us if you have any more questions or you want to try to get one in your hands. And we will see you next. What?
Somebody asked, do people ever insure their units for schools, that kind of thing?
Does it have a potential to be internet accessible is the question I saw.
Well, there's a Q&A in the chat. So there's.
Oh, we got things coming. Okay, we're still coming. So I'll deal with the internet one first. I had this question a couple of times, and it's kind of interesting. It's like, well, is it an Android too and everything? No, it's not. It's not going to do anything other than what I showed you today. If you want to bring something on board, you push it through with an SD card. And so far, the reaction I've gotten answering it that way has been very positive, and that, if you want to have an Android computer, go buy a Chromebook for $50 and have one, and don't have all the confusion and everything that goes with it when you try to integrate something into that. Whereas we just have a magnifier and it reads and it works, and you don't have to mess around with a whole bunch of other stuff. So personally, I'm thrilled that it does what it does, and it doesn't try to do more than it should. What was the other question?
Do people ever insure their units for use at schools, etc.?
Do people insure the units for use in school? Well, what we can do is we have extended warranty plans, things like that we'll be able to offer. So essentially that'll be like insurance. We have no formal plan for breakage insurance, but we're a small company, we're flexible, we're happy to work with you if you have a particular situation that you need accommodated. That's what we're supposed to do, is accommodate you. So we will do our best to do that. Anything else coming our way? I get to be done. All right. So if you have more questions or concerns, do email us, give us a call. I, of course, neglected to put our phone number on the screen, but it's 888-308-0059. Again, to call us, it's 888-308-0059. Or you can email us at sales@iriat.com. Thank you so much for joining us today. Have a wonderful day, and we look forward to seeing you soon.